Good to go? Okay. Call the Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 Montrose Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Roll call.
Roger Vroan.
Sean Cox.
Chuck Smallwood.
Catherine Nyberger.
Sam Solars.
Steve Gritman.
Jessica Bonniwell.
Okay, if we'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, look for a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
I move for the approval of the agenda for the evening.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes from the October 11th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission.
Are you looking for a motion to approve? I make a motion to approve the October 11th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. This time I'd be looking for a motion to close the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and open the public hearing.
Second. Or make a motion to close the meeting, yep. Sorry.
I'll second.
Close the Planning and Zoning meeting at 7:02 and open the public hearing. Refer over to Mr. Gritman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commission, the item before you tonight is consideration of an ordinance amendment that addresses a statute that was passed by state legislature earlier this year, establishing a use known as sacred settlements. The use is essentially a collection of tiny homes or micro units, as the statute uses the term, on religious institution property. They are required to be managed by that facility, and in fact, at least one of the units in the cluster of units has to be occupied by a volunteer kind of site manager. And there are a handful of, probably more than a handful of statutory regulations that accompany the statute. And one of the aspects of that statute is that it allows the city to adopt an ordinance that requires these to obtain a conditional use permit from the city rather than just be a permitted use, which is what they would be if the city does not act otherwise. So in front of you is a proposed ordinance that does establish this use by conditional use. The use is applicable to any religious institutional property and sets out a series of basically zoning standards to address how these uses might be developed on the subject properties that would come forward if there were to be any. This is becomes an accessory activity to the religious property and can't be the principal use of property. It has to be on the site of a religious institution, place of worship, and otherwise would not be able to be separately established without that allowance. I see that I managed to correct the statutory reference in the code, but I did have a reference at the previous meeting related to Minnesota statute. It's actually Minnesota statute 327.30. So please ignore my 320.30 that shows up there at least once in your prior staff report. But the correct statutory reference is 327.30. The local code would be amended to require a series of conditions for any of these permits. One would be that they meet all the conditions of the statute, which should go without saying, but we want to make sure that's clear. Secondly, they're established only on property of the principal sponsoring faith community, not as only as an accessory use, not as a principal use. The third item being that the setbacks for the micro units are equal to the required setback of that of the zoning district on the adjoining parcel. So if the community is adjoining a property that has a setback of 30 feet, that would be the setback that would apply to this proposed faith community sacred settlement. Excuse me. Fourth item is that where they are located adjacent to single-family use, a landscape buffer providing reasonable screening is provided, and that where they are located adjacent to business or industrial property, a landscape buffer and a solid maintenance-free fence would be provided to both screen the uses and provide a physical separation. I know that in some cases there has been some discussion about requiring a fence in either case, and we can certainly have that discussion tonight as part of your hearing. The sixth item here is access to the micro units in the community created under this provision only through the internal private access of the faith community property, so that they're not driving in from all over the place. This is, again, an accessory use of that religious site. Item 7 is that parking supplies for the property are adequate to serve both this use and the ongoing church or faith use of the site. And we've suggested that at least one parking space is reserved for each unit. And then finally, that other requirements of the council and the city are eligible to be added depending on the particulars of the site that may be chosen and the surrounding neighborhood in which it's located. The summary here again is that the statute requires us to allow these. They will be permitted uses unless we adopt an ordinance such as this one, requiring the conditional use permit. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. But with that, staff is seeking approval, your recommendation for approval of this code in front of your body tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodman.
Okay.
Any questions or discussion? I think it's pretty much straightforward. Okay, there's no one in the audience, so I'd look for a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the planning and zoning meeting.
Move, close the public meeting to reopen to our ongoing zoning commission meeting.
All right, second.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, at 7:09, I close the public hearing and open the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting again. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'd be looking for a motion to advance this to City Council with recommendation.
I'll make a recommendation. I make a motion to make a recommendation to adopt the zoning ordinance amendment to incorporating the requirements of state law and all of the staff recommendations as stated.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roger?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, passes 4-0. Okay, no old business. Is there any new business you need to go over, Mr. Gritman?
Not new business per se, but just a report that we have had an inquiry by a new business owner who is looking to build and occupy property for masonry construction site on the west side of the community. So we'll be expecting to see plans coming through for a conditional use permit for that site sometime soon. They seem to be actively pursuing their plan drawing. So We're expecting that. And there have been a few other inquiries about various businesses and kind of hoping to culture those as they come along. Residential, as a general rule, has pretty much closed down for the time being. I think interest rates have probably kind of derailed a lot of new residential spending, but at some point, those will probably ease off a little bit, and I wouldn't doubt that we start seeing the things we've been expecting for a number of months. So, but nothing to act on tonight.
Nothing on the preserve other than what's stated?
The purchase agreement was approved by City Council on October 30th and has been executed. We're just kind of going through some of the business stuff with that right now for closing and all that. There is a 90-day due diligence period that the developer has requested, and we will be working through the TIF process during that time as well, so.
Okay. With that, our next meeting will tentatively be on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll close the meeting at 7:12, I believe it is.